Welcome to the deep dive. You've handed us your notes, articles, all the
Yeah.
research, and we're here to help you slice through it all, get straight to what really matters.
Exactly.
Today, we are diving deep into Movement Network. We've got a good stack here, high-level stuff, tech details, token info, project traction, the works.
Right. Think of this as your fast track.
Yeah.
Our goal, unpack movement network. What is it? Why are they trying this? Well, it's a pretty ambitious thing. Bridging Move, the programming language, with the EVM.
As a layer 2 on Ethereum, no less.
Precisely. We'll pull out the key features, talk about the Hoovie token's role, and see how their ecosystem is actually shaping up. So you walk away knowing the score without getting lost in the weeds.
Okay, let's get into it. This challenge they're tackling. Based on the sources, Movement Network bills itself as the first Move EVM Layer 2 for Ethereum.
Yeah, and the core idea is, well, it's interesting. They're building this modular blockchain setup, but the engine, the core, is the Move language.
The one from Facebook originally.
That's right, Libra, DM, the whole initiative. Move is known for being very secure, resource-centric. It treats digital assets almost like physical objects in the code. Very different from Solidity.
So the mission, reading between the lines here, is to take Move's strengths, this execution environment, and push it into new places. Make things more interoperable.
Pretty much. The strategy seems to be integrating the movement network itself with what they call the Move stack. The idea is to bundle it all up to offer secure, scalable, and hopefully developer-friendly infrastructure.
And this is where it gets really interesting, right? The bridge idea. Connecting Move, which is like its own world, to Ethereum's massive, well, everything, liquidity, users.
Exactly, and they're doing it with this compatibility layer they call Move EVM or MEVM. The sources stress it's not just about, letting them talk to each other. It's about creating a more unified landscape.
Bringing Move's security and potential performance benefits over to Ethereum's huge pool of capital and users.
Right. If you look at their value proposition, it's quite bold. They talk about revolutionizing scalability and security using Move's features.
While plugging into Ethereum's liquidity via that MEVM layer 2.
Yeah, this dual approach. They want developers to be able to spin up high-performance app chains, dApps, using their modular framework. The docs position them as maybe a cornerstone for the next wave of decentralized stuff, especially highlighting their fast finality mechanisms.
Okay, let's dig into the tech specs mentioned. Performance is a big headline number they use, isn't it? 30,000 plus transactions per second, TPS.
It is. They claim that high throughput comes from Move's design, specifically its suitability for parallel processing. The sources mention block STM.
Block STM, right.
Yeah. Unlike the standard EVM, where things often run one after another, block STM lets non-conflicting transactions run side by side, potentially speeding things up dramatically.
And Move's security reputation. That's a big selling point, too. The sources say it helps prevent a lot of common smart contract bugs.
Definitely. Things like reentrancy attacks, certain kinds of math errors. Move structure, how it handles assets as resources, is designed to make those much harder or even impossible by default. The claim is it stops the majority of traditional attack vectors seen in Solidity.
So how do they manage EVM compatibility and leverage Move's security and speed? That seems like the tricky part.
That's where Fractal comes in.
Yeah.
It's described as their flagship interpreter. What it does is allows Solidity contracts Ethereum's language to be compiled down to run on the Move VM.
Okay.
But crucially, it's designed to then parallelize those compiled Solidity contracts within the Move environment.
So it's not just translating, it's adapting the code to actually take advantage of Move's parallel processing.
Exactly. And the sources really emphasize it offers full bytecode compatibility.
Bytecode, that's key.
It really is. It means existing EVM apps and native Move apps aren't just living next door. They can potentially interact more deeply because, at the machine level, Fractal makes them compatible. This bytecode thing is core to their whole bridge concept.
That level of compatibility plus the modularity. Sounds like developers get a lot of flexibility.
Seems like it. The sources mention these execution layer rollup frameworks. Teams can use the Movement SDK, their software kit, to launch their own custom rollups, like their own little high-speed chains tailored for their app but still connected to the main network.
And what about finality? How do transactions get confirmed?
They use a fast finality settlement mechanism, secured by validators staking MoveEE tokens. The idea, according to the docs, is to offer quicker confirmation times compared to waiting for, say, an optimistic rollup to fully settle back on Ethereum L1.
Right. Speaking of the MoveEE token, let's switch gears to that. What do the sources tell us?
Okay, MoveEE. It exists both as an ERC20 on Ethereum and as the native token on Movement Network itself.
Got it.
Total supply, max supply capped at 10 billion tokens.
And the circulating supply details. The source mentions figures as of December 9th, 2024.
Yeah, it says the initial circulating supply when it listed on Binance was 22.5%. And as of that date, it was still 22.5%.
Okay. And there was mention of an airdrop.
Yes, a HO dealer airdrop. Season 1 was 2% of the total supply, and it notes another 5% is allocated for a potential Season 2.
So beyond just holding it or potential airdrops, what does the Move E token actually do? What are its uses?
Several key things listed. First, staking and delegation. Validators lock up Move E to secure the network, provide economic guarantees, and they earn rewards for doing that.
Standard proof of stake stuff.
Pretty much. Second, gas fees. You use Move E to pay for transactions on the main Movement L2. And the plan is it'll also be the gas token for other Move-based L2s built using their Move stack.
Makes sense. What else?
Governance. Holding Move E lets you vote on proposals about the network's future, parameters, upgrades, that kind of thing.
So direct influence.
Right. And then within the ecosystem itself, applications can use Move E. Think DeFi using it as collateral or for liquidity pools, or just as a native currency for services built on Movement.
And the sources mentioned sequencer decentralization briefly.
Yeah, it was mentioned as a core aspect. It implies Move E likely plays a role there too, maybe in electing or incentivizing the sequencers who order transactions. That's crucial for L2 health, preventing censorship, ensuring uptime.
Okay, let's track the project's journey. Fundraising seems like a key part of their story.
Definitely. They started with a pre-seed, $3.4 million back in September 2023.
Then a bigger round.
Much bigger. Series A in April 2024, they pulled in $38 million. Polychain Capital led that one, which is a notable name.
And then Binance Labs.
Yep. A strategic round investment from Binance Labs in May 2024. That's obviously a significant nod from a major player.
They also list some key milestones they've hit. Seems like they've been busy.
They have. Let's see, pulling from the roadmap info, seed round was SEP 23, Series A, April 24, Binance Labs investment, May 24, then Binance Wallet integration in August 24, important for users.
Makes it easier to onboard.
Right. Then they launched their incentivized testnet in July 24, let people kick the tires, earn rewards.
Just testing, basically.
Exactly. And then the big one, mainnet launch with the token generation event, TGE, happened around November, December 2024.
So mainnet is live. And looking ahead.
They've targeted January 2025 for launching their shared sequencer.
Okay, so hitting major checkpoints. What about the actual ecosystem building on this? The sources mention quite a bit of activity.
Yeah, they do. It says over 60 dApps were live on the testnet. And this figure jumped out at me. Over $600 million in committed TVL for the mate launch.
Committed TVL, so
Yep.
not necessarily live yet, but pledged.
Right. Project's basically saying, we're bringing this much value to the network when it launches. It shows strong early buy-in, even if it takes time to materialize on-chain.
That's definitely a strong signal for a new network. And the SDK seems to be fueling growth beyond just the main L2.
Absolutely. The sources say over 10 dApps have signed up to deploy their own Move-based L2s using the Movement SDK.
So building app chains on Movement tech.
Yeah, teams wanting maybe more control or specific performance needs for their app, leveraging the underlying Movement stack. It points to that modular vision taking root.
Can we look at some specific projects? The sources list quite a few, helps make it more concrete, like Meridian, DeFi focus.
Right, Meridian.
Yeah.
Building core DeFi stuff, AMMs, liquid staking tokens, LSTs, liquid restaking tokens, LRTs. They're from the Follow Labs team, apparently experienced, raised $3.5 million. You can see how Move's secure asset handling might be good for complex DeFi.
And Echelon, also DeFi, money markets.
Yep, Echelon, building money markets, also raised $3.5 million. Then there's Pontem Network, interesting, because they already have big wallet presence on Aptos and Movement, over 400K downloads. Plus, they built LiquidSwap DX. They bring an existing Move user base.
We're even seeing hardware plays, Up Network and a Web3 smartphone.
Yeah, the Alpha Mobile, designed specifically for Movement Network with its own Web3 app store, trying to smooth out that mobile Web3 experience, aiming for mass adoption.
And bringing Movement's tech to other chains, Nexio, Bitcoin rollups.
Right, Nexio, using the Movement SDK to build parallelized Bitcoin rollups. They're homing over 30K TPS, low fees, aiming to unlock DeFi, gaming, NFTs on Bitcoin, stuff that's hard now, raised $2.2 million.
And Link, also mobile focus.
Yeah, Link. Calls itself the first mobile-centric L2 using the SDK, targeting the billions of smartphone users, claiming developers can build much faster and cheaper, raised $1.5 million. Again, hitting that mobile accessibility theme.
Okay, what else? BRKT prediction market.
BRKT, yeah. Prediction Markets mentions their own Oracle network, INVKR, raised over $1. And Henry Protocol Building Strata, another L2 using the SDK. This one's focused on decentralized commerce brand loyalty programs, raised around $1. Shows the SDK's used for specific niches.
Interest protocol, leveraging Move's object models.
Yes, for trading, using a CLAM design, concentrated liquidity AM, the source highlighted significant testnet traction, 70,000 users, over 100,000 transactions weekly, suggests Move's structure might be a good fit for efficient clams.
And Frax, the stablecoin protocol they're rebuilding in Move.
Apparently so. Fully recreating their smart contracts in Move. That's a big deal. An established DeFi project embracing move-on movement for performance and security. That's quite an endorsement.
Wow. Okay, any others jumping out from the list?
Well, there's Vanilla Finance, a Telegram bot for high-leverage trading, raised $3. MetalAir, a multi-chain CKL2 for liquidity aggregation, raised $6. Surge, offering Move BTC rollup as a service, raised $1 5 meters more Bitcoin focus.
Helix, restaking alternative assets. Cardano liquidity?
Yeah, Helix looking at bringing Cardano liquidity into the movement ecosystem via liquid restaking, raised $2. And Echo, another Bitcoin-focused protocol, liquid staking restaking yield operating in the Move ecosystem. Claims over $130 in TVL already, raised on $5 meters.
So it's not just one type of project. It's DeFi, infrastructure, Bitcoin bridges, mobile. Teams seem to be picking up on different aspects of Movement's tech.
Exactly. Some are using Move itself, some the EVM compatibility, some the parallelization, some the SDK to build their own thing. It's a diverse mix exploring the possibilities.
And community-wise, the numbers mentioned suggest decent traction.
Yeah, the source data showed over 186,000 followers on Twitter, over 45,000 on Telegram, and a huge Discord following over 854,000.
That Discord number is massive.
It really is. Suggests a very active or at least very large community building up around this project.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The essence of Movement Network, based on this deep dive, it's really about trying to build a bridge.
Yeah, a bridge between two major blockchain paradigms, taking Move with its focus on security, its resource model, its potential for speed via things like BlockSTM.
And connecting it to Ethereum's world, the liquidity, the users, the existing network effects, using that Move EVM compatibility layer, the fractal interpreter.
Right. And it's not just one monolithic chain.
Yeah.
It's also about enabling others to build specialized L2s with the SDK. We're seeing the early signs of an ecosystem forming around these different capabilities.
So why does this deep dive matter for you, the listener? Well, you're seeing a project trying to fuse strengths from different blockchain approaches, move safety and speed with Ethereum's reach.
Understanding this gives you a window into one possible future for dApps. How might applications change if they can tap into both Move's features and Ethereum's ecosystem? It could affect how you interact with things, whether you're a user, a developer, or an investor.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. What are the real implications if this kind of Move EVM bridge truly succeeds? If you can seamlessly combine high performance, that specific kind of Move security for assets, and fast finality with Ethereum's vast network.
What kinds of applications, maybe things we haven't even thought of yet, only become practical or truly compelling when you bring those specific ingredients together in one place?
Does this hybrid model unlock something fundamentally new? Or are the complexities of merging these different worlds going to be a major hurdle, something to think about?
Definitely food for thought. Is it the next big leap or a challenging integration exercise? Time will tell.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Hope this gave you a clear, useful picture of Movement Network drawn straight from the sources you provided.